Okay, so here's the door in question. Here is the existing hinges. 1, 2, 3. And the door is, sometimes it closes way too hard and it's, starting to crack some of the walls. So our goal is to find something to put in this door because this is a really high traffic area, and make it either soft close, so slow close, something so that we're not damaging the frame of this door anymore. So I don't know what you can recommend. I'm all ears to any suggestions. Thank you.
Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
I'm great. Thanks so much for, at least even being, offering to try and help. You see the predicament I'm in with that door and, trying to get that fixed for I'm a personal assistant and a property manager, so I look after the boss's home along with a bunch of other construction projects driving me crazy. So if a door can be the least of my worries, that would be a good day. So I'm open to, kind of what your opinion might be. The boss found that hinge online a few weeks ago. He said, "Hey, this looks good, buy this." I said, "Okay." And, we didn't know if or at all it would work. So, like I said, anything you can offer to help with would be greatly appreciated.
Sure. So what you have is a concealed hinge. It's a knockoff of the original Sauce, and what you have is their door closer version. Mm-hmm. That type of spring that's in that model is, it's not round. It's an unusual spring in the sense that you see those in a different type of application in traditional spring hinges, not concealed spring hinges. And the original unit, the Sauce unit that this was copied from, we've supplied and sold those in lots of applications. And it is not unheard of to have someone complain about it slamming. In my opinion, it's the difference in the spring. So I'm suspect of I'm suspect of the spring that's used in that, because I believe it's going to be one that you'll have to adjust so that it both gets the door closed without slamming.
Right.
Because it's a square style spring, I feel like a lot more attention will have to be paid to getting it set. Having said that, you may not be able to get that door to both close without slamming, and that would be because of perhaps the way that the jamb was installed. Maybe it's not true plumb level and square. Maybe that door actually moves up a little bit, so you've got to set the tension higher. It could be reasons the hinge could be perfectly fine. It could be reasons outside of the hinge that are exacerbating the fact that you've got to turn the spring up so high to get the door to close, and it ends up slamming. I never suggest these as a first option. I would encourage a consideration to not use that as the closing device and use what I would call, a proper closing device, which would be hydraulic control. And that is basically a door closer. It's just a door closer. Well, they make them that are concealed, so that and that's obviously what you're going for, concealed hardware with concealed hinges. So you can have complete hydraulic control over the opening. The concern that I have is that this horse is out of the barn, and that you're not going to be able to field retrofit it. So if any changes to the door and frame are not permissible at this stage of the game, I would suggest that someone get in there and try to tweak that hinge as much as possible, so that you have a condition where the door both closes without slamming, hopefully. And I might suggest that you add some pressure-sensitive gasketing. And I'll email you a link to it. It's just a very small material that's very common. You've seen it in the past. You may not have noticed it, but it's there. And that will help deaden the sound of the door hitting the stop. So that may, balancing the hinge out better, along with something to keep it from slamming on the wood stop, may be the answer you're looking for. Originally, if I were to have specified the opening, I would not have called out concealed spring hinges because of this exact reason. We did these all in a Mario Tricosi salon one time many years ago, and they're like, these doors slam. Yeah, that's what your guy picked out. That's what you guys told them you wanted. I would,
Right. I came on board after, the house, he purchased the house right before COVID. It's in an exclusive neighborhood in Miami Beach, and, he probably got a great deal, but it was, the house was originally built in the 40s, and kind of had maintained that old Florida, Miami aesthetic. And so when he came in, he was going to demolish the whole house and start from scratch. But as Corona hit, he said, oh shit, I can't demolish my house and, not know when I'm going to be able to put it back together. So he took it down to the studs, the bones, and, project after project in this house that I've come in now. I just started working from about 5-6 months ago, and lovely family. But, in Miami, South Florida, getting good work down here is already difficult. And, he this one screwed up the roof. This one messed up this one didn't do the permit right for this. So I'm going behind now and kind of picking up all of this mess, if you will, to try and, fix all this stuff. I had a leaky roof, AC is acting up, and just one nightmare after another. So I understand that a lot of the house, the materials they picked or the things people sold them were wrong and not appropriate for what they ultimately wanted, what would fit their lifestyle. And then there was shoddy workmanship. So there's a lot of problems that I'm working with. So all I can do now, the best is to, try and, fix what I can the best I can. So, whatever you suggest, as far as, I think that I gave you a good enough video of the door for you to really see what we're working with, right? I don't have to take the door apart at all for you to.
No, so not at all. I mean, I viewed that. What I would suggest at this point is when you open the door, you can see the adjustment screw for the spring. I would have someone play with that. See if you can balance it. Whoever installed it may never have changed the spring rate at all. So that's number one. So you might adjust it and say, well, this is good enough. And then I've also emailed you a link to what I would add to the face of the stop, because it will muffle or help mute that sound of the door coming closed. And those two together might just perfectly solve this. And I have to tell you, this, what I had said right away in the conversation, this problem is not unheard of. And what I meant to say was, it's a pretty uncommon fatal flaw, if you know what I mean. People are able to make these things work, and we sell them routinely. And I've never had one returned to me for this. Let me say that. Sure.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Whatever you recommend, I'll buy it right away. And if there's any what I'll try and do my best with my contractor. I'm working with the guy that I've used previously, so he's coming in now and kind of fixing all this stuff for me. I'll let him know what you said about adjusting the spring first. If he has any questions, I'll reach out to you. But in the meantime, I'll definitely go ahead and order this part, and hope it will come with instructions just in case.
It does, but it's really self-explanatory. It's one of those type of things.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that would be wonderful. I'll get on that right away, and anything after that, I'll reach right out. But I really, really can't thank you enough for all the help. It's so hard to find good work down here. You're 239. What's that? Is that Fort Myers, Naples?
You know, both technically, but we're in Naples.
Yeah. You know, it's just another world outside of, you know, once you leave Fort Lauderdale where I am, but, you know, I'll be generous and extend the courtesy up to, you know, Palm Beach. Once you're out of Palm Beach, it's a whole nother world. It might as well separate, you know, the state into two parts because we're just dealing with two totally different, you know, demographics, and, you know, finding good work and someone to pick up the phone, you know, by 9 a.m., 9:30 in the morning who wants to work and can speak English or do the job and show up on time. I mean, it's a whole host of problems, as I'm sure you know, but that's really why I appreciate so much your help, because it is so hard to find, you know, nowadays, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, send that over and I'll order that right now. And is the part coming from you guys? You sell? Is that what you're a supply, right?
Yeah, I've got it in stock over here. If you were to order this gasketing, it'll ship in a day or so at the most.
Oh, awesome. That's wonderful. Then I can probably have it by, you know, Monday at the latest. And then, yeah, I'll work on getting that installed. And like I said, if there's any other problems after that, you know, I'll reach out to you guys. And for anything else moving forward, too bad, you know, we couldn't, you guys don't do any type of like installation or any home that would be too easy. That'd be great if I could get you guys to come and do some other stuff for us at the house. But no worries, this is a step in the right direction, and yeah, I really, really appreciate your help.
You bet. Thank you very much. I'll watch for the order and follow up once you made some forward progress. I'm happy to continue to support.
Oh, awesome, Richard. Thanks so much. Have a great day. I appreciate it.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So the original item that I'm referring to in that conversation, the item that this knockoff version is patterned after, would certainly be something like the Sauce 218 IC. So when you see IC in a Sauce part number, it means invisible closer, I suppose. I believe that's what IC is going to stand for. But when you see IC, it means it's a closer version. Yeah, invisible closer. So it's a typical Sauce 218 hinge. Nothing unusual about the hinge at all, except they had this plate back there, which allows you to get a spring to seat into. They've got this long bolt running through it and then a threaded cap back here. And when you open the door, you get access to the head of this screw right there, which allows you to set tension. Now, when I was saying to the client about the spring type, you'll see that this is a round spring. And what I was referring to when it came to the spring that is on the client's unit, this is a square style spring. And I'll tell you, the only time I've seen this square style spring is in a single acting spring hinge, which is the, I don't know that Bomber is the only company to have ever used this, but their springs in their single acting spring hinges have that sort of feature. Now my logic with that is, I'm sorry, the logic of that is I would argue that you get a different behavioral profile from a spring that's round versus one that is that rectangular nature. That rectangular nature, I think, is going to give you a substantial amount of ability to provide closing force. So I would think that that type of rectangular profile is going to be, when you set tension in a torsional sense, not compression, it's going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, the round version I would think would be less capable. However, I might argue that this round version may be better in terms of giving you a flatter arc when it comes to the tension being released from the spring when it's put under compression, meaning it should exhibit less of a difference in maximum to minimum speed over the closing cycle from, say, 90-degree open to closed. My guess, my hunch, is that a round spring is a better overall profile characteristic. I don't know that. It's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. This spring could be far more capable. Whoever this is a hinge from, absolutely imported from Asia. This is a Chinese manufactured counterfeit of the sauce. It's slightly different. It might be so specifically to avoid contaminating, existing patent on this type of hinge. I don't know, but I'm suspect of the spring type. So it could be that the hinge that the client has just does indeed need a finer tailoring on how you've set that tension. Actually, you can see the head of the screw here. And I found it online. It's the head of that screw is right there. $109 for that hinge. Yeah, I would say that it's not a lot less money to get a counterfeit of the original. So the original hinge I have sold for 30 years basically. And as I said in the conversation, I've never had one returned for that slamming, but I have had people say, yeah, that door closes pretty fast. And then we talk about the adjustment and the conversation seems to end there. So there must be a balance. What I've suggested to the client that they add, and it's really a Band-Aid in my opinion, is self-adhesive teardrop shaped material that you'll be able to install. Okay, pretty obvious, and it is very common. Right here, just like we see here. Or actually, what I'm really referring, either would really work well, I think, but this is what I was going for. Help deaden that sound when the door makes contact with the face of the stop. Okay. There is one other thing I think I wanted. Oh yes, there is one other thing I wanted to mention. I had also mentioned that a concealed closer might be an option. Now, this closer, this 3130 series from LCN, and other people make these, you're not going to see anything when the door is closed. Obviously, that's what the client's going for. This ought to have, in my opinion, whoever detailed the material, and the client said the owner detailed the hardware set, and that's fine. We're not a secret club when it comes to detailing hardware, but people who work within the industry are going to be able to navigate what works and doesn't work as well when advising a customer. And it would be true to say that hydraulic control, which means there's oil in this closer body, is going to allow you control. There is no control with the spring. You don't control it at all. You set the spring tension, you open the door, compressing the spring, you let it go, and it closes. There's no control. There's no control. But with a hydraulic closer, you can control that. There are valves that are on the closer that I believe are there. I don't believe they're up in the top of the closer. Now that presents a problem for us. This solution, and I didn't go into it because I don't believe that altering anything is going to be possible for the client at all. I believe that what is done here is done.
Hinges.
Start this over.
Here's the door in question. Okay, so here's the door in question.
Now right here, you can really see that there is, you can bear with me one moment. You can see there's no room up here. This is a flush ceiling condition. The client hasn't left any margin here. That's probably, it's hard to say what's actually up there. You know, is that a header that's there? Is that wood?
There is the existing hinges, 1, 2, 3, and the door is, you know, sometimes it closes way too hard and it's, you know, starting to.
So so these sort of easy jams, they might be called, where there's no casing, there's very little evidence of the frame. That door slamming is literally cracking the top coat of the drywall. There's a name for that. I don't remember what that material is used. You know, it's bought in bags, it's mixed up, they're available in different setting times. So that's cracking.
Okay, so here's the door in question.
I'm concerned, you know, let's just assume, and you also see what's neat is that it's rabbited here. That's a nice detail.
Here is the existing hinges, 1, 2, 3, and the door is.
Yeah, there's the slamming.
It closes way too hard, and it's, you know, starting to crack some of the walls. So our goal is to find something to put in this door, because this is a really high traffic area, and make it either soft close.
Yeah, it's really, it appears to be quite a narrow door, but as the client said, it's a, you know, an 80-year-old house. So
The wall. So our goal is to find something to put in this door, because this is a really high traffic area, and make it either soft close, so slow close, something so that we're not damaging the frame of this door anymore. So I don't know what you can recommend, and all ears to any suggestions. Thank you.
So, adjusting the springs, assuming this is not an option, because, as the client was saying, they can't find someone to just show up on time. Perhaps adjusting the springs and then installing this might bring it down to a point of it being acceptable. So that is what I have to say about this. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.